Well, hello, my students. If you're saying, wow, we're getting a little tired of all this, realize counting today, we only have 20 days left. Holy cheese. So today we're going to do something called amplitude change. Now, amplitude has to do with the number in front of the trig function. So we're going to focus on y equals a sine x on this side, then the other side we'll look at cosine. So remember the basic graph we did yesterday, you got to kind of have this down. We use the quadrantal angles or the 90-degree angles because that's when the important things happen. So sine starts at 0, at 90 degrees it's 1. At 180 it's 0, then negative 1 at 270, and then 360. So if I say y equals 2 sine that, I'm going to multiply every major point by 2. So 0 times 2 is 0. 1 times 2 would be 2. 0 times 2 is 0. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And then 0. So, and then curve, oh my land, I'm missing it. Curve it in. This is horrible. I apologize. I can do better than that. So then if I have 1/2 sine x, I take all the major points and multiply by a half. So 0 times a half, that's 1/2, 0, negative 1/2, 0. So again, not the best graph in the world. Oh, I can do better than that. Holy cheese. Now remember, whatever you make your 1 going up and down, your 180 is 3 times that. That's how you keep the right ratios. So what would negative 1 be times the sine graph? Well, we start at 0 times negative 1. What do you think happens? What do you think happens if I take every major point and multiply by negative 1? Just think about it. Turn this off, think about it a couple minutes, and then turn it back on. Well, that's right. It actually flips about the x-axis because 1 times negative 1, back to 0. Negative 1 times negative 1, 0. I'm having a hard time graphing it this morning. Mercy. Now, they wanted to give a number for amplitude. Now, when you take physics and higher level sciences, you'll deal with this. When you go calculus and pre-calculus, you'll deal with this. That is a horrible graph. So they've defined amplitude as really how far from the middle to the top. But the formula, there's 2 of them. You go max minus min divided by 2. So 2 minus a negative 2 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. 1/2 minus a negative a half is 1. Divided by 2 is a half. Now, if we had a lot of time, I would show you with more examples that your amplitude is actually the absolute value of the number multiplied to the trig function. So another way to find it is to say it's the absolute value of a. So the amplitude of y equals 2 sine x is 2. The amplitude of y equals 1/2 sine x is a half. Woohoo! Then this one would be positive 1. Because the distance from the middle to the top is still just 1, or 1 minus a negative 1 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. Cosine. If you remember from yesterday, our basic cosine starts at 1, goes to 0, negative 1, 0, 1. Oh, by the way, you may use this chart by your side. So if you want to freeze this and write it, and you may use the chart with XY on it too. And I have no idea where I put it, so I can't show you. But remember, cosine is, oh, here it is. Thought I lost it. Sine is y over r, cosine's x over r, tangent's y over x. Hew. That's an x, by the way. That's an x over y. So you may use those. Usually in class, I would make you memorize it. Now, by a Monday, here's your homework. Now, tomorrow we'll go on to period change, and then I'll have the homework due Monday. I want you to try to graph these two. That's this basic graph, cosine. So the amplitude is going to be 3 for this and 2 for this. Absolute value, absolute value. So now, we do have a quiz today. I'm going to put it on Schoology for my honors high school. But if you're not in honors high school, find 2 coterminal, 1 positive, 1 negative for this, 2 of them for this. Then we have find those and find those. That's tan 150, tan 135, cosine 330, sine 240, and there. Now again, for my high school kids, you don't have to worry about this right here. I will put it on Schoology pretty soon. We'll have it due tonight, and it's worth 150 points. And notice we probably only have 3 more grades, and they'll probably be somewhat small. We'll see. Hey, have a good day. Amplitude.